Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. And today is a little bit of a new one because I'm going to be sitting down with my dear friend and Sirlinksalot founder, Nick, to dive into one of life's greatest dilemmas for marketers and consumers alike, which is in-store versus online shopping. How are you today, Nick?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited about this new show we've got coming up. It's going to be a little bit different than what people are used to. I know everybody's used to a lot of technical SEO and marketing stuff, and we figured it's time to broaden a little bit, give people a little break from the classic stuff that we've got going, and have a little fun along the way too. So nothing here is scripted or pre-decided, right? Let's see where we go with everything.
Right. And I do have something on my mind, but I didn't want to tell you, Nick, because I
Oh,
wanted to
great.
get like your fresh reaction, right? So I went to the store this weekend and I bought a perfume. I haven't bought perfume in like 10 years, but I caught a vibe, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's not really something you can buy online. Like they have the little Scentsy thing where you can buy it and then try it and smell it and then send it back. I think that's clunky. It's stupid. Whatever. I
Agreed.
went and I bought the perfume and they gave me a sample when I bought the perfume. I go home. I smell the sample. My God, this is the best day I've ever smelled. I go back to the store and I ask them, "Do you guys have this perfume? I just got this sample like 2 days ago. You guys have it in the store?" They said, "Oh, sorry, we only have it online. It's only online." I was like, "Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, whatever. You guys just heightened the barrier to entry to me getting this perfume, but I was committed. It smells amazing. It smells like a Fruit Loop slash perfume. It's great."
Hmm.
I go online and I go on their website and it's not even like available yet. It's like only for pre-order. However, it was available on another website for cheaper than they were offering for the pre-order in the first place. So obviously I just buy it from another site and it made me think like, first of all, what if I smelled the sample on the spot and I wanted it right then and there? They just lost a sale right there. And online I found it at a cheaper place anyway, and since they made it so difficult for me to get hold of it, I just ordered it from some other place and it was fine. And I'm thinking, what is the benefits of even going to the store anymore? Why was I even there? The experience has become so online heavy that it felt like I was just mostly in a showroom where I might be able to buy something if I want to, right? Have we deteriorated as a society in such a way? Is in-store shopping out?
I think I would say it's probably on the way out if it's not, quite there yet. And yeah, you do get directed to go online to fulfill your purchases on a lot of different levels. I've done it with sporting goods quite a bit, things of that nature. But yeah, it's a shame because this day and age where everything is attention markets, right? Everything is fast moving. It really does. It takes time out of your day to conceptualize, well, I need to go pick this up at this store, do this at this store, do this at this store. And if you're in an industry like ours, that really kills a lot of probably what you need to be doing day in, day out. Um, so, maybe it's not common for everybody, but even if you're going to a 9 to 5 or something like that, tacking on something like that, and then on top of that, not getting what you were looking for or wanted is going to do you a huge disservice. Never mind if you're taking care of a family, etc. Right? So,
Right.
when you look at it that way, what are the purposes for going to the store versus just doing it online? Now, with a scent, right? You want to know what you're getting into beforehand. You don't want to just take the celebrity's word for it, order it, get it, and be like, oh, this isn't really, suited
Well,
for me.
there are ways, like they do the subscription box things to where they send a
Mhm.
variety of scents or they try to personalize a scent for you and like, oh, this is like vanilla and patchouli and bergamot or whatever, and you're supposed to already know what those smell like for some godforsaken reason. But I feel like there are some things that I just won't do
Sure.
in store. You know,
Hmm.
I thought that that was one of those things, but now I'm not so sure because if I have to order it online anyway and I have to wait, like if I'm going in stores because I want that instant gratification, it's because I
Right.
am craving for a snack. I have a hankering for some Belgian waffles and I'm going to the store. I'm going to get those right now, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't want to wait for that. So
No.
they're
I
making it less appealing everywhere.
I agree. I agree completely. Like, if I am going to do something like that, then it's got to be for something that I desire to look for. Well, for me, it's junk hunting, or like, I go to the comic book shop and I'm always going to have fun there. I'm going to converse with whoever's there, but it's more of like a hangout situation. I'm not really going there just
Really?
for commerce, right?
Right.
Versus I talked to like my father, And I'm like, you need a little part for, whatever, fixing the pool mechanism or something like that. I'm like, you can just order online. Oh, no, no, no. He wants to do this cathartic, get in the car, think about it quietly, go to the store, kind of piddle paddle. But he's retired, right? And I don't think he's got
He has
much
time
else
for it. Yeah.
to do. And if he wants to get away from, like, maybe what's going on at home, mom, then that's probably why he likes to take these trips. But he will not order anything on Amazon, right? But that's got to
Right.
be a dying breed. I don't think that's something that's common. I talked to my other neighbor over here who's 80 something, and he's got Amazon packages coming all day long, random stuff he doesn't
Really?
even need, and then he's showing it off to me. Yeah, so I think even the older generation is starting to find the allure to ease of access of finding things online.
I feel like they just like that routine too. Like, every time there's like the self checkout and then the regular checkout that's manned by
Mhm.
personnel, you always see people who are like over the age of 70 in the waiting in the
Yeah.
checkout because
Yep.
like yeah, self checkout is easier and it's simpler, but they're just used to that. They just do it because they're used to assembly line experience. They can talk to their cashier, "Hi, how are you? How's it going? How are the kids?" and then go about your business.
I wonder if we're not going to end up really old and lonely, wishing we had a place to go in the not so distant future. I wish I had a shop to end up on instead of what I've been doing. And I told you about this. I found out about Whatnot like
Yeah.
within the last month. It's Home Shopping
Recommendation.
Network. It's exactly what it is. It's Home Shopping Network. It's just on a different level. But to me, this is probably going to be more of a reality in the near future, that everybody is doing something like that if they're, looking for random items, or, they're browsing on Amazon or any of the other 10 million things that hit you daily on Instagram or whatever social
Yeah.
media app you prefer, right?
When
Um,
was the last time you went to a mall?
I don't go to the mall.
Have you never gone to the mall?
So I worked. My first job was at the Gap in a mall, and this is pre-internet, right?
Right.
Or maybe right at the beginning of the internet.
My first job was at the Gap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we didn't just work there. Me and my friends all had different jobs at various stores in the mall, and then when we were done, we hung out at the mall. We were mall rats. If you've seen that movie, that Kevin Smith movie, that's
Oh yeah.
literally who we were. And something about all that was tons of fun, but I developed like a allergy to that level of commerce at some point in time, where like even just the smell of going into a mall and seeing just like this mindless consumption of things that like I don't even get. I don't like it. Like fast fashion pisses me off. A whole lot of these other things really agitate me. And so getting in there, I just feel like this bad energy, if I'm being real with you. And
You get in
I
the mall and you get real crotchety and you're just kind of like back in my day, we didn't
do
we didn't
I
need 10 blouses for €5 each or whatever.
yeah. Last time I went was with my most recent ex in Colombia, and we went there to watch a movie and just kind of like mess around. But like even just, it doesn't matter where the mall is, that feeling is something that it's negative to me, which is funny because
Mm.
the guy that came up with this concept of malls, he wasn't really about creating an institution based on commerce. What he wanted was community hubs. I don't know if you're familiar, I can't remember his name, I just remember reading about him. And so he wanted a place for people to hang out, just have fun, like a more modernized version of a park. Well, at some point, the government starts giving grants to developing more and more of these. And you see them rise up in big developments absolutely everywhere. And the guy that created the concept, at the end of his rope, was saying that he really, it just wasn't what he had in mind when he came up with the whole
He
concept.
regretted
It was
everything.
it was disheartening at the very least, right? And I
Right.
see why, because you're trying to bring community together, and then you instill something that's I don't know, in a lot of ways, counter community. If we get it,
Yeah.
the
It
soul
used
of
to
it,
be a
right?
solid, like, 3rd place, which I know that America is slowly losing more and more. Right now, I'm
Hmm.
hanging out in Europe, and I'm really surprised by the amount of, actual coffee shops that people have as, like, that's
Sure.
people's hobby. Like, terrace sitting
Hmm.
is a hobby. Like,
Oh yeah.
sitting outside, drinking your coffee, chatting with your friends. And if you especially go to a nice restaurant here, I'm a foodie myself. So if you
Hmm.
go to a nicer restaurant and it has multiple courses, they're waiting like 45 minutes in between courses. And for me, that sort of thing pisses me off because I was like, I'm hungry. I go to a restaurant to eat. I'm not here to socialize. I'm not here for the 3rd space. But
Really?
I had a maitre d' in Belgium explain to me that, this is just the culture here. Instead
Hmm.
of, like, when I was younger, we would go and hang around in malls and have our red hair swoop to the side in the most
Yep.
dramatic side part you've seen in your life, eyeliner out to here. It was the thing. But here, I don't think that it really, like, mall culture never really caught on like that. There's maybe like
Yeah.
one mall in this entire, like, area in the Netherlands I'm at. The only place I saw like a higher concentration of them was in Turkey. And the malls in Turkey are like mini cities. Like
Oh,
they
really?
also don't use it as a 3rd place. It's like everything you need just because they're trying to build up instead of like out because they have limited space in like
Sure.
a city like Istanbul. So it makes more sense. But as far as like the community feel of it, if that was this guy's goal, I feel like he greatly underestimated how America is very good at consumerizing things.
Yeah, no
I
doubt
feel bad
about
for
it.
the
Yeah.
guy.
You come up with a concept that you think is community driven, but if it gets big enough, then it is going to just be about the dollars that it produces. Yeah. I feel it's a shame. When I was last in Barcelona, you're giving me like this. I love just the thought of hanging out at the cafe all morning and random people coming up and you make new friends. And yeah, life is about sharing, with the people that you care to be sharing your time with, if nothing else. Um,
Right.
but I think, maybe the average American sits around there like, that's lazy. I got to be at work 40 hours a week plus. I don't,
Yeah,
I,
that culture is different too. So in general, like you get if you're in Europe, obviously, I don't have a European job. I have a Sirlinks job, but I still have a pretty solid work-life balance that's not dissimilar from locals in general. And
sure.
it's a mindset. So the entire month of August, like I'm just now able to get some important things done within the last week or so because
Mhm.
almost throughout the entire month of August, the majority of Europe is on vacation.
Right.
Like you're not gonna if you need something handled in the government, you need papers done, you need something notarized, you need your electrician to come and fix it, you are out of luck because they are
Completely.
on vacation and you're not going to bother them because if you
Yeah,
bother them then you're in trouble.
right. Can't be bothered with that kinda stuff. I'm trying to live my life, yeah. There's some
Yeah.
honor in finding that wavelength, I think. It's definitely easier to feel, I think, when you're overseas than, when you're in the States, and, part of the reason might be just that we're geographically really spaced out, although it's like, yeah, why I mean, I guess we used to hang out at a Starbucks here and there, but it doesn't have the same allure to it, does it? Yeah.
Starbucks, no, I feel like in general Starbucks is suffering a little bit because they're making it harder for people to hang out.
Mhm.
Like they're making the store smaller, they're taking away more seats, and in general, they're like, what's happening to our stock? And it's like people were
Not to
like,
mention giving you dog food and crappy coffee, that gives you a chemical high over a clean burning caffeine hi well, yeah,
don't get me started. I'm from Seattle, so if you want coffee snobbery, then
yeah.
I'm
We could
here
go
for
on you're getting me on tangents already, but yes. Have I been to a mall? Not in a long time, and I avoid them if at all possible. Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Right.
I don't wanna be around that. And quite honestly, like, yeah, if I don't have to go to the store, then it's gonna get done online, and a lot of it just has to do with, seeing time as the ultimate capital, really. If you
Right.
got ease of access, but there is a morality, I think, like you kind of have to question. There's this guy I really love following. He's kind of a armchair investigator, Ian Carroll. He's got a YouTube show, Instagram, but he talks about it and like the destruction you're kind of causing by supporting institutions like Amazon, or these soulless BlackRock run corporations, etc. And so, like, even if you're shopping on the internet, there is a way to kind of be conscious of where you're taking your money and who you're giving it to, and, exploring things that you might do in real life too. But I think that kind of, it starts going out the window when you conceptualize doing things online, because you're not thinking, oh, well, I'll go to this store. It's about the same distance, but I like, the owner or this person over there. You stop. You're just doing ease of access, and you become like this robotic little need this, go to Amazon, everything's already geared up for your checkout and you do it in 2 seconds.
Right.
It's
My biggest thing right now is online thrifting. So I mentioned to you, I'm a huge fan of Vinted, which is like the European version of Depop. So you have specific sellers and you can follow sellers. So if they always have something that's within your same interest range, or if you know that they wear the same size as you and have similar fashion, you can follow them and see the kind of stuff that they're selling. And recently I sold to a guy who, like, he was so friendly that we were just chatting. Like, yeah, we were like working out transaction stuff, but I was selling him like a K-pop light stick. So
uh-huh,
obviously he's a guy who's into K-pop.
uh-huh.
So we were chatting about, like, oh, this group came to France and then this group came to the Netherlands and we both saw it and we're like sharing photos and stuff like that. That felt more like an in-person interaction, to where you could just like go to a store, show someone a video like on your phone of like the concert, things like that. But it's only because I was shopping from like a little person. So even that role can be outsourced to online, which is good for me as someone who's known since I was a little girl that I wanted to spend too much time on the internet and just buy stuff that I don't need offline. It feels more ethical that way when you're doing it from like secondhand. Yeah.
I'm with you 100%. Yeah, that's why Whatnot has really just taken a hold of me. I don't think I've ever gotten this addicted to anything, computer oriented this quickly.
How much money have you spent on Whatnot this
I
month?
I don't want to talk about that. I know what it's at, and I think most people would not believe me if I said how much I had spent on it, and I would never put that out there because there's gonna be a lot of people judging me. But
Valid.
let's
Me
say
included.
let's say this. Part of the reason I got into the SEO game from the get go, I wasn't ever like a real tech guy. You can ask ex business partners. I would punch my computer screen when I got frustrated at it. I couldn't deal with it for a lot of my life. But what happened was I've been collecting random things since I was a kid. I can still remember like my first eBay flip. It was a Hellboy mini bus that I bought at a estate sale for $5 flat, and I sold it for $83 and some change. That's
Nice.
forever ago, and I still remember that first thing, right? And like comic books were my first real thing. I started collecting at a real young age. And it kind of went from there. People that know me in real life would maybe call me a hoarder to some degree, but it's a well curated
it's not a mess.
collection of things.
It's a curated collection.
Well,
Because I know where everything is.
There's a couple storage units and stuff like that. Anyhow, but when Whatnot appeared to me, yeah, initially I just the searching for stuff, that's really exciting. Oh yeah, sorry, we're gonna go back a little bit. So collecting got me into SEO because then I figured out how to hunt for domains, which I put videos about exactly how I do it. And when I started doing that, collecting these domains became this whole new hobby to me. I got super obsessed with it. It was a lot of fun, and it taught me that the internet, if you if you frame it right in your mind, can give you the same feeling as going and hunting for treasure at a flea market or overseas or any number of things, right? So that got really exciting, and it propelled me into this whole thing that ended up becoming Sirlinksalot and everything else associated with it. But it was all from this collecting standpoint. Needless to say, I still have countless collections that I've always like dreamed of having a space to maybe sell them. Because like if you really like take the time and like appreciate all this stuff. Like I know the history and everything of what I'm purchasing. It's not just like, oh, that's cute, right? I have to have it.
That's cool.
I'll get pretty in depth with it. And it teaches you things. It kind of opens you up to like different concepts, different ideas as you navigate it that way. So I feel like it is commerce, don't get me wrong, but it's to me, I take it more as like a modernized version of treasure hunting with a bit of modern history attached to it.
I think
Um,
that that's probably the more fun way to do it, isn't it? Because
I
it's not
love
like
it.
you're mindlessly purchasing like buy now, buy now, buy now.
Yeah,
You're very intentional about what you're buying, and I think that being mindful is something that you can do regardless of the medium, right?
completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how many rabbit holes you might go down that then become a part of your life. It's the same. I don't know why the hell I know this history about the mall guy, which I should probably, look up his name at this point. I feel like he should be honored. But I know that history, and I know I probably figured it out through one of these kind of avenues where I'm just exploring something I bought or a concept based on, commerce. But when I opened up Whatnot and I see what it is, and I'm not just because comics is the first thing that I went to. I'm not just like they're buying comics. There's these hyper nerds there showing off their collection. Oh, this one's not for sale, but let me tell you all about it. And so then you're not even buying anything. You're just in that little home shopping network, and they're thumbing through the pages of some rare books, and you're becoming friends. And you give yourselves a little follow, and you go support each other's shows, things of that nature. Like it's very community driven, and I think that's awesome.
Right.
It relays the same energy as if I go to one of these stores I really like my local comic book shop or something like that, right? Where I know them, we'll discuss things, and it's not just about going there to buy something, it's about going to hang out, quite honestly, shoot the shit with some other nerds. I love
Right.
that. Now that it's accessible on your phone, it's a bit scary if I'm being honest, because I'm picturing this dystopian future, which we're already in, but like, where maybe universal basic income becomes a thing. A lot of people have lost their positions to AI, and they're just sitting at home in their moo-moos, sucking food through a straw, home shopping all day.
Wally.
Maybe this is too extreme of a view, but I kind of picture that yeah, Wally, exactly. Wally or Idiocracy or any a number of these, but like, how long before that does become true? I even felt susceptible to it when I first jumped on, where I'm just like obsessed with it every free second. Like, well, let's see what's going on here. Let me do a little research and see, who's doing what with this concept. But
Right.
while like you could take a kind of negative lens to it like that, I think it's awesome because like the more you look, the more you realize people are like gaining a sense of freedom through this, right? I saw one guy, and he was at thrift stores, going to thrift stores, auctioning off items before he's even like bought them. So he's not showing the price. It's probably like a $2 whatever. And people have bid up to like $20, $30. Those are like crypto gains right there. We're talking about like 10x, 20x, right? Like this kid is making a solid hourly through a hustle that literally takes what, gas money as your
Not
initial,
not
right?
even. Maybe if you just took the bus and went to the thrift
Dude,
store, comes back
it,
with 3 bags of stuff.
that's it. Yeah, and then you ship it off. But I was like, holy shit, like this is amazing. What a concept. Why would you go work for a soulless corporation that's going to pay you $15 an hour when you can do something like this? So, I think there's some
Right.
liberation in a lot of this stuff. And yeah, sure, it started with like Etsy, eBay and stuff like that, but that stuff lacks the personality, right? So like the original, why doesn't my dad want to go there? Oh, I want to talk to like a real person. Well, that kind of dissipates when you start looking at it from this perspective, and especially like as we start seeing big corporations go more the AI route and get less and less personal. I think it's going to probably give more strength to the little guy from other people that just do want to interact with other humans and share like, some
Right.
communal kind of joy over the same crap they like to collect or, things of that nature.
I do
If I'm
think it might kind of be more so like, so I'm a very digitally native person. Like I said,
Mhm,
I'm very much a Zoomer. I'm
mhm,
firmly Zillennial, but I'm a Zoomer in that way because
mhm.
I see a lot of goodness come from online communities. Like I want to say 90% of my friends I met online before I met in real life. Like we've been Facebook friends for like
Really?
a decade or something, and then I
Oh,
just
wow.
randomly end up in freaking Austria or something, and then we meet up, and it's like we know each other our whole lives, right?
Uh-huh.
So these online communities have potential, but I've also seen, like you said, so much like just toxicity and the impersonalness that comes from, people just being people behind the screen.
Sure.
It also kind of leads to a lot of like harassment or people just saying really rude things they would never say in real life. I've seen people develop
Definitely.
lifelong insecurities based off of YouTube comments. Like
Right.
I remember I got a comment once when I was like 13 years old, and then someone said like, um, "This girl has a potato nose." I
What?
was, yeah, which was crazy because I'd never even thought about my nose. I was like 13, 14. And
Yeah.
the second I got the opportunity, I fixed it. It was like 10 years later. I said, yeah, I'm gonna get a nose job. And that's what I did.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Who goes onto a kid's at 13 year kid, who goes onto a kid's YouTube show and then,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm sure
there's
they were like grown up. They were like grown adults
yeah,
too. So
some
I've
mean
seen,
doesn't leave the house
yeah, just like
roll.
completely digitally native in the worst way. But I've seen both sides of it. So I'm
Sure.
I'm trying to be an optimist as much as I can and be like, "Oh my gosh, I met so many amazing people on the internet. It's amazing." But also like some people on the internet are just awful.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
communities, especially like insular communities, like I was part of like the roller skating online community for a while. Long story, you don't have time for it. I've experienced both. Some of them are my friends even like to this day, five,
Mhm.
6, 7 years later. And then some of them are the reason why I'm so strict about online security. So,
I would
if
think
I
so. Yeah, that scares me a little bit, the online security situation. It's why I don't like post too many photos, and I definitely don't really post very many photos of my kid and things like that.
yeah,
But at the same time, that's coming from a place of caution. And yeah, there is a lot of benefit to the internet. Unlike you that was born with the internet, right? Yeah, or like in you had
close
the
enough
internet
to
from the
it.
get go,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, we were on the landline era for most of my adolescence, right? Like up until maybe like beginning of high school. Well, I guess junior high is when the internet started, but we're talking about like dial up and you're still on the landline. And like if you want to get a hold of your friend, you've got to call their house and hope they're there. And then we got more access to connectivity, right?
Right.
I honestly, at this point in my life, don't know which one I like more. It's most likely I do like the internet connectivity thing, but sometimes I wish I could just go back to that slower pace where you're I don't know, things were simplified, I guess, before the internet, and now I can understand why some people, again going back to my dad, would like to just kind of stay back in that era,
With a
where they
pager and dial up and hearing you got mail every time you open your
oh,
computer and
dude, what a
those
beautiful
were the days.
sound. Oh, man, that was fun. Yeah, oh gosh, yeah, that was fun. First getting into the anime forums and chats when
Oh
when
yeah.
anime wasn't even a thing yet in the United
Gay
States. We're
online.
buying bootleg VHS and stuff like that and then sharing it at school. Yeah, but see, even then we were already doing the commerce thing as soon as it started, right? But it opened up
Exactly.
new avenues that we weren't able to get. And that's another thing too, right? With the online shopping, you've got access. I have to luck out if I'm looking for like a specific, again, just to go back to comic books. If I want a specific book that's like hard to find, I've got a chance that it's going to be on eBay or whatnot right then and there. Versus, if I want it to just appear, then that takes more hunt. But for me,
Which is
hunt is
more
part of the
satisfying for
fun.
you.
Although
Yeah.
now with whatnot, I'm not gonna lie, the hunt feeling is kind of back because you have to like navigate around. You're like meeting different people. You're finding different things that you didn't know you were interested in. As you navigate and look for what you're looking for. So there is a
Yeah.
there's a gratification found there that was not on eBay or anything comparable, Etsy, all those
Yeah, I
things.
don't know. It just made me frustrated. When I was younger, I was really into like Japanese fashion. And if you wanted like a certain brand name piece, like very popular Japanese brands, which are all completely just defunct at this point, you had to go through a shopping service. I don't know if you're familiar, but
No.
it's pretty much like a middleman to where you
Okay.
can't purchase directly from the store because they only ship within Japan. So if you
Uh-huh.
wanted this, you had to purchase from the shopping service and then pay them to not just ship it to you, but also like they would check the quality of the items and they would make sure that it was what you were looking for. And that was like their little service. They
Sure.
ship it to the US. So when you were selling this stuff or buying this stuff directly from the source, you couldn't actually even do that. There, you have to like have someone hunt for it for you on Japanese secondhand sites and then go through and ship it to you. And that didn't really make me feel gratified. It made me pissed off.
Really?
I just wanted the Daya belt or whatever it was. They were like these cool little like rain or chain belts that only had DIA, which was the name of the brand. Now I don't think you could be able to find those. I haven't looked, but they were already hard to get.
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago.
Do you have one now?
No.
You don't.
I never got
You never
one.
got it. Oh, bummer. I get the feeling you would probably lose your shit if you had to go like thrift shopping with me or something like that, because I am slow and meticulous and I'll go through absolutely everything. If I get taken away from that, like if somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I want to go with you," and then they take me away from that, I'm like, "Well, you can get lost on your own because this is what we're doing today."
How long is this shopping trip hypothetically? Like,
well, I mean, like, if
specific.
I'm going to do something like that, then it's probably an all-day event. I'll like on probably once a month at least, maybe twice on a weekend, especially with my kiddo because he likes to do it now. I've taught him a lot about negotiations and stuff like that. Yeah. This stems from when I was in Alaska. I think this is where it hit me the hardest. I saw this couple from Wyoming that had these two kids. One was maybe like 8, and the other one was maybe 13. And I watched this 8-year-old who was already like, he talked like an adult, and they had this really cool philosophy on raising their kids. But this was at a gold mine. We're not in a city. They'd flown there, landed, and they're doing gold mining for that summer with their kids. And I saw this kid, and he goes up to this guy who's got like a Caterpillar bulldozer that needs some paint, and he's like offering to paint his bulldozer, and he's negotiating the bid. This is the 8-year-old, and he's like spitting on the ground as the guy's like negotiating back and forth, and then like shakes his hand. I'm just like, holy shit, like that's so cool. Like this kid's, he's got a leg up because he's like having fun with all this too. It wasn't just about like, this concept of you got to make money and blah, blah, blah. It's like you're having fun navigating all this stuff. And these are things you've got to do throughout life. So, I don't have access to that, but the flea market, I've definitely taught my kiddo like, well, you've got this much. And like, so when you go, they're going to give you a price. You've got to like kind of decide based on what you have, whether that's, a good deal or not, and whether you really want that thing, right? Because I don't want them to be mindless about stuff. Like you see all these kids that like, they don't get their toy at Walmart and then lose their mind. Like, I want it all to be kind of sensible, but I also like the idea of like teaching them like just the thrill of the hunt. Right. But yeah, at least probably like 1 or 2 times a month, it's going to be an all-day event where I'll probably hit like maybe 2 to 3 targets depending on the side of town I'm going to, but this will last easily like 4 to 6 hours. And in the heat,
you can bring your kid.
like
you can bring your kid.
yeah, you wouldn't go, would
no
you?
One else.
Yeah, that's it. You like my ex, like she's like you're sick,
Now I was going to say, ladies, this is a first date with Nicholas Altamore. You're going to the thrift shop. You're spending 7 hours at the thrift shop, and you're going to like it.
Yeah, maybe that would be fun. Let's put that on my dating profile.
Trying to weed them out, like
I don't know though. if I'm being honest though, like, I don't know if I hate when I'm going somewhere and then like I can't like be meticulous about what I'm searching through. Like, like come over here, look what I found. Like, no, I'm working one piece at a
Okay, so this is like
time.
a job for you. This is like serious
I
business.
I treat it like that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's literally like it factors into some semblance of OCD in my mind.
That adds
I
up.
want to see it all. Then I also, I research vast majority of it. If I don't know what it is, yeah, it takes time.
Now, I
And if
feel
I
like
don't
that's an
get it
extreme
down,
example, but I feel like
it
in
is.
general, most people have less of an attention span for shopping nowadays because of that
Could be.
instant gratification sort of deal. So in order to like have it to be an actual experience, you have to enjoy the shopping experience. And I feel like
Hmm.
people don't make it as enjoyable in store. You've got the
Yeah.
fluorescent lights, you've got the shitty pop music that you've been hearing for the past 15 years, the same exact songs. You've got
Hmm.
people being annoying just in public, in
Or
general,
mean. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
mean, or rude,
Hmm.
or all the above. Like they
Yeah.
don't make it a pleasant experience. And most of the time it smells like feet. Especially if you're going to like a thrift store. It smells like a mixture of feet and
Oh,
armpits.
sure. Can.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Depop now. Like,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And if you're going through, for instance, a thrift store and you're meticulously looking for the perfect piece, there's going to be people like right next to you trying to like look at the same pieces that you are, and
Hmm.
you risk them grabbing the good ones beforehand. So now you have to like stare down somebody's grandma so that she doesn't take the last small sized blouse. And it's too much. It's stressful. So I see the appeal of like making it a thing, like sitting
Hmm.
down and like, okay, look, we're going to go shopping and I want to really contemplate and be mindful about my purchases and things like that. But I feel like most consumers, myself included, our attention span and our patience for that sort of thing has been whittled away across, the TikTok era where uh, instant gratification, where you can just like go on someone's TikTok shop and then buy everything that you see in a video that you just have never thought about except for 5 minutes ago when it was just presented in front of you.
Is
And it's
that how you end up with a Labubu on your shelf?
Yes. I am very proud to be
Honestly, they're
a
pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Collectibles. Cute.
I'm one of those pop culture people. Like I think that pop culture is fascinating. I think that what drives humans to do pop culture things is fascinating.
Uh-huh.
And so I got a Labubu because everybody else has one. And that's the reason why most humans buy things.
Let me ask you though. So, since I feel like we're on opposite spectrums of the
Oh, for sure.
commerce chain, right?
Oh yeah.
How often do you find yourself a week after you buy something still relishing in the fact that you got it? Holding it in your hand or
Mm,
walking by it and truly appreciating it. How often does that happen to you? Or like even an outfit, right? I feel like, yeah,
yeah.
just how long does that kind of
That's
last,
a
that
great
high?
question. I think for the most part, a week is about like the max for me. I regret my purchases more often than not, which is
Really?
why I'm such a fan. Yeah, I'm such a fan of the secondhand shops because I can just be like, oh, I want this so
Yes.
bad right now. And then I buy it because I know 2 weeks later I'm gonna be like, I'm just so over this. Why did I spend $40 on this? For example, this
Wow.
guy right here, I got this for like a little event that I'm going to. It's like a fantasy ball for nerds who like,
Okay.
D&D, World of Warcraft
That's pretty
stuff.
cool.
But
Yeah.
it's a bag. It's a purse. They don't
Yeah, I
actually have
can
it open.
tell. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this I actually thought about before purchasing it. I
Hmm.
had it in my cart for like a week and I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy it. It was on like 15 euros or something, but I still thought hard about it. And
Uh-huh.
then now that I have it, I'm already kind of over it. And look, the event hasn't even come, and I'm like, oh, it's not even that cool. So for me, I don't know. Like, I don't think that if I had thought about it even more, if I would appreciate it more. I think that my attention span is just shot. I think I'm just too much of a
Wow.
boomer to be shopping.
See,
I need my internet confiscated.
I feel like this is majority of people that shop. I'm not gonna lie, like the sword on the wall, it comes off at least like 2 times a week, and I swing it around. I'm not even exaggerating there, okay? And like,
What context? You just have a sword and you're just
I'm just sitting
nice.
around, and I'm like, oh, a little
Just for the
exercise.
vibes.
But I'm serious, like, there's so much stuff that I know it's a one-off or something, and maybe it'll be months or years before I see it again if I've like really like put it away. But every time if it's stayed in my collection, especially like somewhere that I walk by every day, everything is exactly in its position. And I get a thrill out of seeing all this stuff that I've procured, because it wasn't really just about that instant gratification. It was, I want this thing because of what I know about it and the way it makes me feel, right? Like I
Right.
I do I want to talk about this right now? I
Yes.
I think that items have vibrational frequencies that they kind of put off based on how they were created, who created them,
That's
maybe
cool.
a history of what it's been through, things of that nature. Like I especially find that in like in instruments. I've got an amplifier that I swear has some old soul living in it. Just
Really?
like the eerie depth to the sound. And like you think about something like that vibrational output, it does something to the wood, it does something to like to the entire piece, right? So if we're talking about like a 70-year-old amp, which I think is what we're right, yeah, 60, 70-year-old amp now.
Wow.
Like, yeah, there's something that gives me, and I'm not gonna lie, a whole fleet of them. Like some newer, they don't give me that feeling at all. But this one, every time I play it, especially if I play it with the right guitar, um, it's like I come out of that little session washed in some sense, right? And so, like, I don't want to get hokey with what I'm saying, but yeah, I think there's something that can be gained through interacting with certain items. But I know some people are going to be
Yeah.
like, this guy is fucking crazy. But I've got other friends
Well,
that
not
identify
really.
with this and have validated with me. So, it's a
It's
school of
not
thought.
actually like a crazy concept because a lot of people feel that way, but about like specific things. Like I used to
Sure.
collect stones and rocks,
Hmm.
and you cannot convince me that like Tiger's Gate and Green Aventurine do not have two completely different like energies to them. And
Yeah.
so it's like a cultural thing as well. In some cultures, people would take the stones and they would carry like a green stone with them to attract money, or they would carry like a red stone with them to attract love and things like that. So
Hmm.
it's not just all woo, it's also based in like very deeply ingrained cultural practices for a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like people like you are the only people who deserve internet.
Why is
Like
that?
like I don't deserve I let's be completely honest here. I deserve to have my Depop and my Vinted and my Amazon just confiscated. I don't
Really?
Yeah, I'm fully self-aware in the fact that I know that the way that I purchase things is rooted in nothing but degeneracy and hyper consumption. I'm not
That's so fun.
I'm not
Well,
proud about having 4 Labubus,
so how
but
how the hell does it happen then? It doesn't make you feel good in the end.
yeah,
It's a vicious cycle then, from what you're saying,
yeah,
but you can't abstain from it. What do you
yeah.
think the root of this thing is?
You just described an addiction is all I'm saying.
For
Like,
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I feel like addiction is very rooted in societal context. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, in South Korea, it's very common every Friday to get wasted with your colleagues Friday night.
Uh-huh.
In America, that might be considered alcoholism, but culturally, everybody's doing it in South Korea is not alcoholism because it's literally like the norm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that it's kind of the same concept to where, everybody is consuming in such a way to where it's not a problem. Ideally, it would not be this way, but
But
everybody considers it normal.
but you've been living in Europe and abroad for a long time now, and I
Yeah.
always feel like if I go to like Argentina, where my mom's from, and I spend like a month there, if I like last time I was in Barcelona, I spent like a couple weeks there, and I remember coming back feeling completely washed of the concept of consumerism, like almost like I probably felt repelled by it when I first got back on all levels, like where I go to eat, not cooking at home, all the way to like the whole shopping thing. I mean, am I wrong that like I feel like that consumerist behavior isn't so, it's not as big a
prevalent.
thing over there. Yeah, as prevalent over there as it is over here. I feel like
Yeah,
people
it's
are,
really not. Like fast fashion, like people, especially particularly, I can speak for the Netherlands,
yeah.
people are more attracted to high quality things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have something that's like designer and it's not like you just have it for the label, they think that that's really like gaudy and gauche, and
Sure.
it's not considered something that's to be aspired to. You can brag about having a nice high quality rain jacket, for instance, but if you just have like a trendy rain jacket, for instance, from the brand Rains, now they're
Mm-hmm.
nice. I have one myself. They're like nice rain
Of
jackets,
course you do.
but
Why wouldn't you?
because I mean, who I am as a person, I have nice rain jackets. But at the end of the day, people are less impressed by me having a Rains jacket than my high quality jacket. I have a very like utility focused rain jacket to where it's like the first design where it has zippers on the side so you can ride your bike while it protects your legs from the rain.
Okay,
You
sure.
kind of like put your hands through the little loops in the rain jacket. They're way more impressed by that jacket just because it's practical and it's
What
durable
it
and it's
is.
high quality. Yeah, and it's going to be lasting for a longer time. Now, once you get further east, like towards like the Balkans, Greece, Turkey, things like that, uh, things tend to be a little bit more consumerist. So, in cultures like that, where it's more like based in religion. So, that's been like the biggest conflict in general in that area is religious, disparities and things like
Sure.
that. They tend to value consumerism because you're trying to project modesty everywhere else.
Okay.
So if you have like the Greek Orthodox culture, it's more common for people to, try to dress modestly if they're like super religious in that way. In Turkey, if you're like religious Muslim, it's the same way. So they kind of show their status by using things instead of,
Sure.
other things.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense in that way. But when you look at it from the lens of consumerism, I find that the way that they consume is less mindful, even though they have like less money. Whereas here, the
Okay.
Netherlands is a pretty like rich society. The country is doing pretty well. It's a small country, but very
Mm-hmm.
business focused, business oriented. They are more humble with what they have, and it's better to have less and more minimalist. I think that in general, my personality is not going to change no matter what environment that I'm
Okay.
in. Yes, I learn a lot of things. I learn all these languages. I learn about all these cultures. But at the end of the day, I'm still as American as apple pie. And and I like collecting my Labubus and my K-pop light
That's
sticks.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fair. So, I mean, you are 100% on the bandwagon of online shopping is the way to go, right?
Oh yeah. I love
Okay.
buying things online.
I
I love
know
the
I know I sided with that as soon as I got on, and now I'm like, have I
now you're thinking
conditioned
about it, you're
myself
like, wait a minute.
to say that?
I'm not
Because
like
like
the
I'm
same.
like, if I had an option, right? Like I could only do one or the other. I would 100% want to be able to go to my flea markets, thrift stores, and junk stores. That would 100% trump any ease of access on the internet for me. Which is
I
not
feel
what I said when we first started, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, take that away from
But
me.
now that you got
That's a
thinking about
nightmare to
the
me.
4-hour trips and you're bargaining,
Yeah,
and now you're like, nah.
yeah,
And then when you
no,
compare our mindsets around consumerism in general, you realize that you're nothing
yeah,
like me in that way, and
no,
you
I'm
quite
not.
prefer it that way,
Mm-hmm.
which I
Yeah,
respect.
yeah, no, vice versa, right? Like to each their own. It's all subjective, right? But gosh, I don't think either of us is ever going to lose out on either of these concepts. Now, brick and mortar, Ultas and stuff like that, they probably will disappear at some point in time.
Oh yeah,
Same as we've got these empty cavernous malls that like have been, just defunct for 20, 30 years now, and nobody knows what to do with them. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of that. I wouldn't be surprised if universities kind of follow that same trajectory without getting too far on a
really.
different subject matter. Yeah, I would think so. You can get an education digitally that I don't know if everybody's going to want to be a debt slave for these degrees that don't really add up to too much once you get them.
Right.
That's just a kind of a theory I've got. But anyhow, Do I think that the flea markets and these, gosh, I don't want to say anything. I was going to be like, well, they're all very nice people, but yeah, I don't think that's going anywhere. That'll always kind of exist, even in like the dystopian Mad Max super futures. Like there's always that junk shop that you go find your goods at or whatever. Yeah.
You're hoping so. Is this wishful thinking, or are you
I just don't
on
see it
board?
going anywhere. There's always going to be junk for somebody to collect, and always somebody, peddling in junk. Whether that's me or
Or your son?
the the semi homeless people that I buy stuff from. I don't know. I just feel like I'll always be able to get that fix for myself, regardless of the direction of shopping. But uh, since we deal with a lot of businesses, like it, I don't. Recently, I started conceptualizing maybe putting a little store together that would act as an office in the back where I go and I do this. I've got a studio in there and stuff, but the front end is just like my junk shop, just more as a hobby to have it. And I like the idea of having fun with those kind of concepts. Like I didn't get into business because I was really just after money. Like that was part of it, right? But the main thing was just like being able to create and have space and freedom and things of that nature. So I started thinking about that, but that comes from a place of just like, hey, time to get out of the house. I got a haircut for this podcast. I was looking, I talked to
Did
my
you?
buddy yesterday and he goes, dude, you look like crap. Yeah, you need to step
Oof.
it up. So I came and I got a haircut for this specifically, but this time I just
Nice.
do that and I've got somewhere I need to be, put on some clothes, all of that would be good. If I was just getting started in business and I didn't have income coming in, the last thing I would want to do is go get a lease somewhere without a guarantee that the business would make it. And why would you do that with the internet being, it's so easy to gain access to all these things and start messing around with concepts like ads or brand building, things that, you can kind of go slow with without risking losing it all. Yeah, for a brick and mortar store, like conceptualizing something like that in this day and age, at least as like a first resort, I don't get it, and I think a lot of people are going to start thinking that way.
Right. You mean like selling their current smaller brick and mortar businesses, or
Well, just
something else?
having like a storefront anywhere, right?
Right.
Whether you're a bakery or whether you're, some corporate run thing like Ulta. I mean, they've got money, right? But like, yeah,
Right.
if you're trying to gain access to a new business, then like that, I don't see why you would go that route this day and age. It doesn't make any sense, and so that kind of minimizes the concept of like in-person shopping. Why? It, I feel like it's dying. At least on the big commerce level. Why are you buying your collectibles at a store if you can just get them immediately online, especially like cheaper from the manufacturer, or get your perfume wherever? Yeah, I don't know what the timeline is, but I feel like majority of stuff is going to be done online.
I'm giving it a decade, to
Yeah,
be honest with you.
it sounds
Like,
about
'cause
right.
you think about even within the past 10 years, like so many brick and mortar stores are just like, and like bigger chains too, just
Mm-hmm.
closing a lot of their stores, not because of lack
Yeah.
of business, like they're still pulling in record profits, but
Mm-hmm.
because it just doesn't make any sense. And I feel like, again, like we mentioned before, it is regionally dictated. I feel like there's a lot more malls on the East Coast of the US too than when I was living on the West Coast. Like there was
Sure.
more of like a brick and mortar culture or like a shopping center culture. But at the end of the day, people are going to do what makes the most sense for them. They're going to do what's more logical, and nobody's going to sacrifice their convenience for the sake of maintaining the culture.
Yes.
Even if it would be, just nice to have like that as an option,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
probably still on the way out. But I'm
I
excited
would
to
think
see what
so.
kind of it replaces it, if anything. And I really want to know for our viewers in the comments below, are you a brick and mortar person or are you an online shopping person? Are you rooted in just unhinged consumerism like Artemis Peacock? Or do you like taking your time and going through the stores for an inappropriately prolonged amount of time, like Nicole Timor? So please let us know. And we will catch you guys in the next episode. Toodles!
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, make sure to give us a like, drop a comment, subscribe, so you don't miss out on any future SEO insights. And hey, if you're serious about your rankings, head over to Sirlinksalot.co, check out our premium link building services, guides, and free SEO tools. See you next time.